put into words when I experienced this rising. So I just woke up maybe about 30 minutes ago, and I woke up with tears streaming down my face. I can remember. I was gonna say I can't remember the last time this happened, but I do. It was when I was working with my great aunt and uncle in a nursing home, and I had a dream about seeing them being separated and what that would do to them. And it was so unbearable that when it almost got to that point, I had to leave because I couldn't witness what that would look like in real life. But I saw all of it happening before it happened. And then today, I woke up crying again. Because I was having dreams about my family again that were so vivid. I couldn't tell if it was real or not. And in these dreams, there was a lot of things that happened, but I'll just skip to the end. At the end, I was in my living room with my mom and my brother, and we were supposed to be either celebrating or just relaxing together in the living room. But I was just crying, and my mom was asking me, "Why are you crying?" But she saw I had these pictures in my hands of me when I was a baby with my grandfather, who passed away when I was about 6 years old. And I didn't get to know him too much in terms of being able to ask him all these questions. But as a kid, he was the one that raised me mostly. And before I came here, when I was working with my aunt and uncle, and I was looking for files and pictures of my uncle to create some memories with him and some ways of being able to keep all the memories that are available in my family's lineage. And then I came across this book that my grandfather wrote, and it was a log sheet of every single day from the time I was maybe about 1 year old and I could first speak and first walk up until I was probably about 3 years old. And he had logged every single day what we did that day and what he had taught me, what new word that he taught me, or what new experience that we had that day, or what I had done. And I had no idea that this book existed, but when I first read through it as well, I also was crying really heavily because I couldn't imagine what type of love would be required from a person on the days that he wrote where I was breaking things, and crying a lot, and to still love me through all of it. And then I thought about God's love and what that looks like. And all I could think of was my grandfather's love for me when I was a baby and my mom's love for me when I was a baby. And how they care for you day in, day out, all the time, and pretty much giving up anything else to be there for you for the next 18 years. All my mom did was work so that she could come home and take care of me and give me and my brother everything that she possibly could to have the best future possible. And thinking about how God takes his time carefully crafting each human being, and with the most divine, unconditional mercy ever, stays with us throughout our entire lives. And is there caring for us like a mother cares for its baby, even though we can't see it. It's the most active force in our life. And I've seen it way too many times, or at least enough times now to where I know that it's real. Because then I started crying in the dream after remembering how much my family loves me, and some of the careless stupid mistakes that I made when I was younger, and even still to this day, that were not how my mother raised me and how God raised me to be. When God and mother show unconditional love and mercy, and that's all they give day in, day out, their entire lives, while their children go out and make mistakes that could end up costing their lives, and how they still come back to them, always, no matter what. Because that relationship between a mother and a child, that bond is unbreakable, quite literally. No matter how much it could take for a mother to claim that she's gonna disown or disabandon her son or break that bond, there's always gonna be a part in her soul that is missing something if she doesn't feel that she has a child to care for. And I think that all women and even men to strive for this bond between a child and a parent, to experience the love that they experienced with their parents or whoever cared for them when they were a baby, and to then give that back to another child. But it doesn't have to be from a child necessarily. It could be from anything that represents something they birthed into creation. Could be a book that they birthed into creation, or an organization, a business, a charity, something that gives back to the world, something that has the ability to give back to the world, to be an expression of that love, that they, unconditional love that they received when they were babies, and to give that back into the world in some way, shape, or form. Because there's no better feeling that exists than that feeling of unconditional love. And we're always held in it. We're always surrounded by it. Right now I'm surrounded by it in a very powerful, profound way, with this beautiful nature in the background. I can turn around to let this be in the background. And see, this unconditional love that always surrounds us is always here. And it's waiting for us to embrace it. The mountains and this greenery aren't going anywhere. no matter how dark I let my thoughts become, how much darkness I let my thoughts be consumed by, and no matter how many mistakes that I make, this beautiful nature is always here. And when I'm ready to return, when I'm ready to empty my mind and ready to receive that unconditional love from God, the beauty is always here for me to admire. So the question then becomes, what is getting in the way and what is holding us back from experiencing the full extent of God's love and that unconditional love? And the answer is very simple and it's very clear if you really consider it. And it's anything that took us away from the present moment, or that takes us away from the present moment. Because if we are fully present in all moments, there's a reason why they call it the present. Because it's the greatest present, the greatest gift that could ever possibly exist in our lives. And what happens is usually we get a programming or a conditioning from something outside of ourselves that tells us that there's something else that's greater than just being here in this present moment. Something outside of us that we then grasp for or reach for, even though it can't be grasped and reached anywhere near as much as this present moment can be grasped. And it's okay, because that's part of what drives us as human beings to create something more than what already exists currently, right now. It's what allows us to see into the future and to have a vision, to have plans, to create an even bigger and better present moment that's filled with even more beauty. And we wouldn't be where we are today without that other drive to see into the future, and also to reflect on the past and the mistakes that we made so that we don't repeat them again. And also the good experiences that we had so we can strive to replicate them in greater ways. And the beautiful part about all of that is that no matter whether it's a good thought or a bad thought, it's always still leading us back to the same place at the end. And that same place is right here, right now, in this present moment. So we can let ourselves be consumed by darkness if that's what our soul chooses. And materialism and striving to attain something that's already not already within us, such as a new car, a new house, a new jewelry, whatever it is, or a status, societal status, to be socially accepted by others. or a partner to be manifested into our lives to give us pleasure. And notice how I'm not saying anything of these things like they're inherently bad. I think it's amazing to strive for more and set goals for yourself that would allow you to achieve dreams that you once thought were impossible. And I think that's one of the most beautiful things that a human being can strive for and achieve in their life. The only caveat I think that there is to that is when you get attached to the outcome, which is attaining that thing that's outside of you, so much that you forget that the real juice is within the process, within the journey of attaining that. That's where all the fulfillment lies. And if you forget that, and you're only focused on reaching the outcome, reaching the goal, and you forget to be present through all of it, while it's also in your mind, seeing the future and correcting the past, then you're missing out on all of the real rewards. And it can be so easy to just get caught up in the hustle and bustle each day, working long hours to achieve that goal. And our brain just gets turned on to autopilot, and our subconscious takes over throughout most of the day. And we find ways to numb ourselves and distract ourselves so that we don't have to be present in the moment, because we don't feel like this present moment is going to be better than the present moment when we attain that thing that we wanted. When in reality, you numbing and distracting yourself before you reach and attain that thing is only gonna delay it even further, and also it's going to take away from your ability to appreciate that thing that you attained even more. Because how could you truly appreciate what love is, what reaching that goal is, if you weren't fully present through all of the struggles and the challenges and the trials and tribulations that had to come for you to get that thing? That's the greatest reward that you could ever have. Just like in a video game, reaching level 30 or whatever it is that it takes for you to beat the game, or for you to have, the highest level of development in your character, that those levels, or those upgrades that you got are markers of the time that you put in, the energy that you put in to get those things. And that's what makes them so rewarding and so desirable especially to want to share it with others, to show others how much time and energy and dedication that you put in to get this thing to where it is. And if you just hacked your way through all of it, it's probably not going to feel as good. Maybe it could. You know, I'm not saying that hacks are bad. I think that hacks are also a great thing in life that we can utilize as well. Or shortcuts, you know, that exist as long as they're not hindering our, you know, the steps that we need to take in between. So like, say if we already took the steps that we needed to take and God wants to give us a boost, you know, something that's going to help us reach the next level faster, then by all means take it. But it can be also easy to get caught in naivety if you haven't gone through all of the struggles and the challenges that you had to go through for you to reach that certain level of achievement so that your wings could fly. Just like these birds, wings are flying everywhere. Because, for example, a mother has to raise a child for about 18 years, in most cases, before it can let the wings fly of that child to go and live life on their own. And if you only raise your child for about 12 years, and then you go out and wow. Birds know that I'm talking about them. It's beautiful, nice. If you they're going really strong right now. I just want to listen. I guess I'll just close off this point here then. So the last point here is that if a mother lets its child free into society at 12 years old before it's fully developed, it's probably going to make a lot of mistakes and might not even be able to survive. Which is why you can't hack yourself into higher levels unless you're truly ready and prepared for it. And time will reveal itself and show itself if you tried to hack yourself or take a shortcut that you weren't truly ready for. And God's grace is so divine and beautiful that He'll let us make these mistakes and let us try and take the shortcuts if we want. And still 9.9 times out of 10 let us bounce back from them without it destroying us, even though it easily could, so that we can have another chance and we can learn from that lesson and find out what our boundaries are, and to be honest with ourselves about what we're capable of and what we're not in each moment, so that we don't overextend ourselves and make mistakes that are going to cost us even more later on. And that's what really develops and shapes our character and our soul. So now this video is getting long, so I think I'm pretty much at the end here for now of what I wanted to say. So just remember that God's love is always here and present within you, always all around you. And the more we can remind ourselves of that, the more beautiful this experience of life is going to tend to be, no matter what it is that we're going through. So, sending unconditional love and appreciation for listening, for being here, and hope you all have a wonderful day. Peace.